is a very long video and I need you to watch it to the very end. The answer you have been seeking for is somewhere in this video. Be patient. Most single women have been asking the wrong questions their entire dating life. Not because they don't know what they want, but because no one ever told them that the question itself was backwards. The question most women ask is, what do I want in a man? And I understand it perfectly. It feels like the logical place to start. But sis, that question puts the man in the center and your list becomes about him. His appearance, his income, his personality, his vibe. The question I want you to start asking today is this: what kind of marriage am I called to build? And what kind of man does that marriage require? That is what I call the backward build, and it changes everything. I will explain what I mean. When you start with the man, you describe a person. But when you start with the marriage, you describe a foundation. And a foundation is far harder to fake. It is harder to miss, and it's more relevant to whether your life actually works. A man can look exactly like everything on your list and still be completely wrong for the life that you're building. But when you know what the marriage you want, what it requires, you stop being distracted by what looks right, and then you start recognizing what is actually right for you. And this is the shift from building your list forward from a fantasy to building it backward from a vision. I want you to do something for me right now. Close your eyes if you need to. I want you to picture your life 10 years from now. Yes, not the Instagram version, the real one, the one you actually pray for. Now, do this with me. Answer 5 questions about what you see. Question number 1. What is the spiritual atmosphere of your home? Is there prayer in it? Is God the center of how every decision is made? How is conflict resolved in your home? How are your children being raised? Because the answer to this, must there be a man of faith that is actively leading, not a cultural man. Question number 2. How do you and your husband navigate hard seasons? Hard seasons are coming. Yes, I can tell you that for free. They come for every marriage. But you see, a man that stays in the room with you, who prays with you, who leads with steadiness when things are falling apart, that is the man you want. Not the one that shuts down and leaves you to carry the burden alone. That picture tells you what emotional maturity actually looks like in real life. Question number 3. What kind of a father is he? How does he show up? Not just in the big moment, but on a Tuesday afternoon when nobody is watching. Is he present, intentional, spiritually engaged with your children? Because the man that you choose is the first picture of God that your children will ever see. I need that to sink in. That is not a small thing. Question number 4. What does your financial life look like? Are you building generational wealth together? Do you have systems, vision, intentionality about how money revolves in your home? Or is it just chaos? The man that will fit that picture must be someone that stewards well. Not necessarily someone that earns the most, but the person that is faithful and purposeful with what God has given to him. Question number 5. What does your partnership look like on a day-to-day basis? How are decisions being made? How is the household carried? Do you feel supported, seen, and equally valued in this marriage? That partnership picture tells you exactly what respect and alignment need to look like in real practice, not in theory. Now, you have those 5 pictures clearly in your mind, right? Remember we pictured it? Ask yourself, what does the man in that vision require? Not in appearance, not in aesthetic, in capacity, in character, in faith, in vision, in emotional health. Now, write that down. That is your standard. Let me tell you why building from a fantasy is costing women so much. When you start with the man with the image of who you want, you attract that image. And that image can be performed. A man can show up looking like everything on your list for 6 months, a year, sometimes even longer. And then when marriage begins, that image begins to fall apart and you are left with the reality underneath. I have sat with women who describe their husband on the wedding day as everything they ever dreamt of. Tall, successful, charming, seemingly has a fear of God, attentive, and 3 years later, they are sitting across from me and asking me, how did I miss it? They did not miss it because they were foolish. They missed it because they were evaluating the image against the list. There is a difference. Instead of evaluating the foundation against the vision. When your standard is built from the married vision backwards, it becomes almost impossible to fake. Because you are not just asking, does it look the part? You are actually asking, does he have what this life that I'm trying to build, does he have what it requires? Those are completely different questions and they produce completely different answers. So let's talk about what this looks like side by side. A fantasy forward list says tall, financially successful, funny, well-dressed, ambitious, sophisticated. A vision backward list says a man of active faith who leads his home spiritually, emotionally mature enough to have hard conversations, financially responsible and building intentionally, a present and engaged father, someone who respects my calling and my voice. Do you feel the difference? Do you see what I'm talking about? The first one is describing a date. The second is describing a covenant partner. You are not building a situationship. You are building a legacy. And the standard you carry should reflect that. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans that I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." God has a vision for your life, a specific one, not a generic one-size-fits-all plan. A vision that is tailor-made to who He created you to be. And your list of what you want in a man should align with that vision. And when it does, something shifts. You stop looking for someone who fits your fantasy. You start looking for someone who fits your calling. And sis, that is a different kind of clarity. Fantasy is about feeling. Calling is about purpose. A man who fits your calling will also over time become someone who fulfills you in a way that fantasy match could never. Let God's vision for your life be your architecture and let your standard be built from that. I have an assignment for you this week. I want you to build a marriage vision exercise. Answer all the 5 questions above and write them down. Write down what you find, not the fantasy version, the real vision. Build your standard backward from that life that you wrote down, not forward from the fantasy that is in front of you. Drop it in the comments if this reframed what you are actually looking for. I would love to read from you and hear from you. Share this video with all your friends and loved ones, with your community. We need to have these conversations. It's important and it will shape our future. Thank you for listening. See you in my next video. Bye.